Welcome, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Monday, May 22nd, school board meeting. I'd like to call it to order. Lisa, will you call the roll?
Director Weber?
Here.
W. Felton?
Here.
Clavlin?
Here.
Lalaberty?
Here.
T. Felton?
Here.
And Chair Rosh.
Here.
That's 6 present at 6 o'clock.
Thank you. If we could rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I feel like I slid my chair into you, Nikki. Apparently got a little excited. All right. I will ask for a motion to approve our meeting agenda for this evening, as well as the Committee of the Whole meeting minutes for May 8th and the school board agenda for May 22nd, 2023. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right. Well, the most exciting part of the night, and we've got a full house in here tonight, brings us to Quality in Action. And up first is Principal Ochaki with science teacher, Mr. Yautis.
Hi, Dr. Zambrino, School Board Chair, Raj, School Board, and the greater South St. Paul Committee. This is one of my favorite nights because I don't actually get to talk a whole lot. I am Chuck Ochaki, the principal of the high school. But really what's exciting about tonight is Scott Yautis, science teacher, is going to come and talk to us about the new science curriculum and the supporting materials that have been going on with our science department. Really exciting. We have ninth graders who are doing amazing things in science class. Kids are actually really eager to get down to Mr. Yautis' class. Where is he? He's right? Off to the other side. Really eager to get to class and learning, and it's really fun because I have the pleasure of having one of his students in my car on a daily basis, and I hear about all the stuff that's going on. So it's my pleasure to introduce Scott Yautis.
School board, I think we were at Fleming Field like 7 months ago, and we sat and talked about what the trainings that the district supported for myself and my curriculum partner Jane Cornell to go to see how to best implement the new science standards. About 5 years ago, 2017, 2018, National Science Foundation, National Academy of Sciences said, hey, maybe there's a different way we can get kids to think about science that is phenomena-based, that allows kids to not only pick up or learn particular content, but at the same time engage in these practices that hopefully if they decide to become engineers or go into trades or, just reading a newspaper and trying to figure out what's going on in their local community, they could be data literate. At the same time, what's it like to carry on investigations, to ask questions, to figure things out on your own? And so I feel like the way the district has supported myself and my curriculum partner in trainings we took last summer and throughout the school year, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that, or be able to do what I do if it wasn't for the support of the school district in paying for those trainings. What I also need to give credit to is the Science Museum of Minnesota. This year, we've been able to actually, while we think about the new science standards, it's looking at different models and being able to actually sit in a classroom with kids and seeing how they can translate what they're looking at back to their everyday lives. And I feel like the Science Museum, Lisa and Dr. Zambrino, you came in one day and you saw the river tables where we got into our water unit and how water affects our students' everyday lives. And I think that's another thing the standards focus on, and that my administration has been super encouraging of, is seeing how what we're doing in science class from a phenomena level relates to students' everyday lives. I have for a $200 membership that the school district paid. I think we borrowed probably $40,000 to $50,000 worth of materials, from telescopes to rocks, to the stream tables, to sensors. So that's also been, I think, a valuable allocation of resources. I have a student, I think sometimes it's more powerful to hear what goes on in the classroom. So I have a 9th grade student that would like to share with you a little bit what the science curriculum and class has been like at a 9th grade level this year. So I invite Linda Tolentino to come up and say a few things.
Hello, school board. I've never been in a meeting like this, but I wanted to talk about the science class that I'm in, which is Yadis's class. I want to talk a little about what we do and how much I've learned from Yadis, because I was never really interested in science, but now that I've learned about our community and where I live, which I don't get to do that often. I've learned so many things from chemicals with high boiling points to rocks that we have around us. And I feel like it's very important, and I'm thankful that I got this opportunity to talk today, because the curriculum is great. That's what I'm getting at. We do things, we talk to people, we learn with peers instead of just reading from a textbook and not really understanding what we're learning. We just keep it in our minds until there is a test, and then you just forget about it. But no, here Yadis helps us understand the things we're talking about. We learned about companies that produce chemicals that aren't healthy for our environment. We learned how rocks are formed. We learned about ancient things, and it's very interesting to us. As students, I talked to my peers about this before coming here, and it was a great opportunity to tell you guys how the students feel about this curriculum. And that's all I have to say for this.
Oh, very cool. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you very much.
So truly, I'm sure you might have questions for Linda or for Mr. Yao, so I'm going to invite them back up here. Okay, just in case you have questions. And what Linda is sharing about being excited about science is not just her story, but I'm going to tell you it's the 9th grade story. Both with Mr. Yaudis and with Miss Cornell, they are really excited to go to science and to learn. And anytime you can get 9th grade boys talking about something that they're doing in school, right, that's always a positive. And so I have enjoyed having Mr. Yaudis as, I love conferencing with him, but just the excitement that he brings, and then the curriculum and the hands-on material that they're using right now to really bring science alive has been exciting. So, questions?
Yeah.
So what has been your favorite experiment?
We learned about this drinky bird. It's a kind of like a perpetual motion machine. It is a bird that inside has a low boiling temperature chemical, and it tilts and it goes back and forth, and when it hits the water, it cools down, and it was very interesting, and I really liked that.
Yeah, thank you, Linda. I think we're looking at how systems work, how something on one level affects something on another level. So the drinky bird exercise they did, you've probably seen it. It's the perpetual motion that the bird with that, like Linda said, like low boiling point, it starts turning that liquid to a gas, which goes to the head, and it tips the bird over, and then the bird's head cools down, like you said. How that translates to things in our hydrosphere, so our water, and how that affects things in our land and our atmosphere. And I can't say enough about, the support I've gotten as a teacher to be able to implement and try these new things that don't always work the first time or maybe the second time, but if it's quality in action, like the citizens of South St. Paul that voted on a levy in the fall, it's a real honor to be able to come up here and say it's a calling, it's a wonderful job and a community to work in, to be able to share things that I've learned because someone was passionate about something and got me into this career. So, yeah, thank you.
Well,
That's all
thank
I'm trying
you.
to say.
Thank you for giving the kids the experience of interconnectedness and how we as humans and the environment we live in, how we're all connected. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Nikki. Yeah, I think that's at the end what we want. That right? Is there such thing like progress? What maybe progress is sometimes 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But boy, what a wonderful school district to work in and to feel supported by, and
Awesome.
wonderful students like this.
Yeah.
And wonderful curriculum.
Yes,
Well, thank you for coming and sharing with us.
yes, good information.
Thank you. All right, we have multiple qualities of action tonight, but tonight we also honor our 25-year employees. Do we have anyone presenting?
We do. We're going to actually have each administrator come up, and they're going to do 25 and retirees, kind of all in one.
All in one.
Yep. So we're going to start with Brady Krieger.
Excellent, thank you.
Hi there. Thanks for having us here tonight. This is kind of unique. I am on my 10th month here in this district, and I will be honoring my assistant who has been here for 25 years. So I think if you were to ask anybody honestly, they would tell you that Chris Neihart is the heart and soul of our athletics and activities department. I would have been absolutely lost without Chris without Chris my first year. Once I accepted the job, probably around this time last year, I started getting emails from Chris, and she was getting me all set up and getting everything going so that when I finally started, I could hit the ground running. And I just can't thank Chris enough. Chris, why don't you come on up here?
Yes.
I can't thank Chris enough for how much she has done for me, and not only for the rest of the parents, the families, the students in the athletics and activities department. She is absolutely wonderful, helping our families through these processes. I mean, getting kids registered, all the little things, answering the phones, communication, all that kind of stuff. Chris does an absolutely phenomenal job. She's been an incredibly welcoming employee to me. She's been an incredibly welcoming employee to my family. She has been just absolutely amazing at making me feel welcome and making others feel welcome here at South St. Paul. It's very, very common for me to go out into different athletic events, meet with different ADs and so on, and I constantly hear how great Chris Neihart is. I just had a softball ump the other day come up and tell me, you got one of the best in the business working for you. When I started and met with the other ADs from the Metro East Conference and in the other region, they're like, you'll be fine, you got Chris. So here's to Chris. She has done a phenomenal job, and she is a wonderful asset to the South St. Paul School District, South St. Paul community, and our activities department.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Do you want to say any words?
Thank you for this job. I love this job. Since day one, I've loved it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good to have you.
Good evening, school board, Dr. Zambrino. My name is Dory Pavel. I am the Nutrition Services Director, and today I have the honor of introducing Lori McNeese, who is retiring this year. I'd like to say thank you to Lori for the time she has spent here in the Nutrition Services Department, and I would like to wish her the very best on her retirement. Lori has been with the Nutrition Services Department through in-school meals, pandemic box meals, and back to in-school meals. And she currently plays a very important role as the main cook and server on our very popular grill line. Lori has a great sense of humor and has the ability to connect with students using that humor. She simply knows when someone needs to see a smiling face and when they need to be asked, how you doing today? She sees the good in the students that don't always show us the good that they have inside them, and then she reminds them that they do have much good to give. I have seen students come by and say hi to Lori even when they are not getting food from her line, just to make sure they know that they're here today and that they're happy she's here as well. She has turned many frowns upside down. I want to say thank you to Lori for feeding not only the hungry bodies of our students, but their minds and souls. Thank you for all that you have done to make a difference in so many lives. I am grateful for the time that you've spent with the district and the Nutrition Services Department, and I want to wish you the very best on your retirement. You will be greatly missed.
Good evening. Hi, Terry Britoy, principal at Kaposia. And joining me this evening is Mary Malumbi. She's been in education for 27 years, 25 of them here in South St. Paul. And I looked up her hometown today, Steele, North Dakota. 654 people currently in Steele, North Dakota, and she moved from the little city to the big city of South St. Paul, right?
Yeah.
A whole 20 grand of us, from one of 8 kids. I have to tell you, I sat and talked to her teammates just about Mary. Mary has been in the same room for 25 years, and I went this year because we have a few less classrooms, and I said, hey, Mary, do you want to move closer to your teammates? It's just 2 over. You can I'll help you move. I didn't say I'd help you move, but she said, no, I think I'm comfortable here in the end of the building. She has a heart of gold. She is your prototypical kindergarten teacher. So many families come to me and say, my kindergarten experience was so wonderful, I want my children to have Mary Malumbi. And then I said, no, you can't really request putting kids in classrooms, and then I find a way to do it anyways. She is the #1 tennis mom here in the district. She has 2 kids playing for South St. Paul Secondary, Olivia and Zachary, and they're both on the varsity squad, and Marcus has been a graduate of South St. Paul too. I have to tell you, I'm so honored to talk about people like Mary who are true professionals in every sense. Someone that you can always get an honest answer from, sometimes too honest, right? Which I appreciate more than anything. When things are hard, people like Mary come to the table every single day to do what's best for kids. And she is a true professional and a good friend. And I want to say thank you for your service to South St. Paul. And here's to 25 more, right?
Yeah, no.
No. Longevity. That's why I love this. Longevity in this business is fantastic. So this is for you, Mary, and thank you once again. Okay?
Just one thing. I want to, Nikki, will you pass this to John?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for giving me the chance. Because he hired me and he gave me the chance.
You're going to make me
Is that on,
cry.
Jeff? Thank you.
I will be happy to.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
There is one more Kaposia staff member who's not here tonight, who I'm guessing John hired as well. Chris Miner.
Most likely.
Yes, most likely. Reading and math interventionist extraordinaire. Chris has taught 1st grade and 3rd grade for us, and she was at one time Ty's Teacher of the Year award, and she is known in our building as our resident spreadsheet queen. She actually likes spreadsheets, so we like to have people on staff who like spreadsheets. She is the model of consistency. She parks in the same spot every day, and she backs in every day. So we always know when Chris is either at work or not at work, and she's generally there every single day. So again, I can't say enough. I love this district for so many reasons, but for nights like tonight in which you honor people for their not only longevity, but their quality and what they do. And these are 2 quality individuals. So congratulations to Chris Miner as well. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Mark Fenton, the Director of Buildings and Grounds. I'm here to recognize 3 of my staff who are retiring. The first is Tom Benedusky. He's retiring after 26 years of service here. He was our maintenance specialist, the handyman that did everything. So I asked him what he was going to do, and after retirement, he said, now I'm going to have time to work at my house. So he's going to spend more time working on projects around his house and spending time with his children and grandchildren. So the second individual is Jay Doctor. Jay Doctor was our night custodial supervisor at the secondary building. He was with us for 22 years, and he's probably seen a lot of changes in the secondary building over those 22 years, and with the building construction and staff. So, yeah, he's going to spend more time with his wife and children too. And the third individual is John Fries, but some people know him as Jack. So that was kind of confusing to me at the beginning, because I thought during the pandemic, I thought there was 2 employees, John and Jack. Because we didn't meet face to face, so, yeah, but yeah, John was a part-time cleaner at Kaposia. He was a very happy individual, and always had a smile on his face. And so, John was a hard worker and a very good painter. So, I wanted to congratulate all 3 of them on their retirement.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Remember my glasses. Good evening, Jean Zender, Director of Community Ed and Early Learning, and I have 4 of our staff that are have retired and are too busy to be here tonight. Diane Zek has been a great asset to the ECFE program for 27 years. She enjoyed holding and rocking and snuggling with the babies while doing childcare. And I have to tell you, I think I was into this part of my job maybe a month, and they called me because they needed staff, and I got to hold the babies. So I'm like, anytime you need to, it's a short walk from Central Square to our early learning center. Diane plans on spending time with her 5 grandchildren at the cabin. We thank Diane for her warm, fun, and crafty personality, which she shared every day with families and coworkers. I thought my Linda was the crafter of the year. Diane, don't tell Linda, has maybe outdone her. She made over 1,500 fleece mittens, which she donated to the South St. Paul schools. So we congratulate Diane and thank her for her service. Next, we have who we call Annie O'Brien, but the rest of the district calls Joanne O'Brien. But Annie had many years in early learning before starting with her own children, so she was a parent of ours. She became, before she joined the team. She enjoyed meeting all the families. Some she knew from being a South St. Packer herself. She loved watching the babies grow from infancy, toddlers, and preschoolers. In her retirement, she is spending time with her family and friends. She and her spouse have a place in Arizona that they spend the winters. And so we want to thank Annie for her warm, bubbly, inviting personality that she shared with our families and with our coworkers. Next up is Sue Bouget, which I'd like to say happy anniversary. She was going to be here tonight, but it's her husband and hers 46th anniversary, so they had other plans this evening. She's been a wonderful addition to the preschool program as an early learning para. She embraces all students in a warm and inviting way. Her plans for retirement are spending lots of time at her cabin and enjoying her grandson, George, and plans on subbing for preschool. She told me that the other day when I went in to see her. She's already planning that. So we thank Sue for her time spent with our early learners and getting them ready for their next steps in their lifelong learning journey. And last but not least, Miss Kim, as the kids in the Kids' Choice program call her, retired in May. Kim's been with the School Age Care program since 2017. She plans on spending time reorganizing her house and looking forward to having more time just to do the things that she enjoys. Well, we thank them all for their dedication to our community ed family and to the district.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Leah Borg. I'm principal at the middle school. I'm going to have Mark Meyer and Teresa Tonda come up. But before I talk about them, I have 2 employees that I want to talk about who were not able to come tonight. Heather's not here, right? Yeah, I talked with her today and she wasn't sure. So Heather Ossegard is new to our building as of last year. She was part-time in the middle school and even more part-time, and this year and next year she'll be full-time with us. She is a Phi Ed teacher, and she was a full-time Phi Ed teacher at Lincoln Center. And oftentimes when we're really struggling to form relationships with students, Heather will say, "Don't worry, I got it. They know me from when they were little." And that really is a benefit for the students to see somebody that they remember from their elementary and they know and trust, and then they can come alongside Heather and kind of fit right in at the middle school. So I know Heather has been in the district for 25 years, and I thank her for that service. And actually, I think that she's been in the secondary long ago and then is back with us now. Kristen Lefferts is retiring after this year. And I sat down with Chris last week, who I said, Chris, what are you going to do with your retirement? And she said, well, I'm going to be playing the pipe organ more. She shared a video with me of her playing the pipe organ at church. And she's an amazing artist. And I can't imagine she can improve much from what I saw, but she's very excited to share her talents more at church. Chris is not able to join us tonight because her son is receiving an award at his high school, and so she wanted to be there for that, and she's going to be spending retirement actively parenting still. And I asked her what one of her favorite memories of working in South St. Paul Public Schools was, and she reminded me of the germ tent. I don't know if you can imagine being a nurse in the pandemic, but Chris set up a tent where kids could put some lotion on their hands and then wash their hands and go in to look at the black light and see what spots of their hands they missed. And that was actually one of the first things we did with kids when we had them back in the building after the pandemic. So I'd like to invite Mark and Teresa up. And as they come up, I'll tell you a little bit first about Mark. I've asked him a number of times to teach a master class in organization and communication for middle school students and families. You are amazing, and I am so thankful for all of the work that you do, and I look forward to, one, sharing social studies teacher stories. I was a social studies teacher and became a social studies teacher about the same time Mark did, and we remember back when the internet didn't have any safeguards and whitehouse.org was not what you thought it was. And Teresa Tonda also celebrating 25 years here at South St. Paul Public Schools. She is the queen of rigor. Students come in and they will go toe to toe with her about what needs to be done and how it needs to be done. And by the end, they sing her praises and they write a real mean essay. So thank you to you both.
Yes.
I look forward to working with you for many more years. Don't retire.
Yes. I just want to say, you ever see that Oprah show where she said, you get a car, and you get a car? Okay, well, I taught your kid, and 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 I taught that kid, and I taught that kid one's kid. I taught them all, so
I know.
I'm sticking around for a while.
Yeah, and my kid,
And your kid,
When
he's
it-
old.
oh yeah, he's old now. But when he graduated, you gave him a graduation card, and in it you wrote, "You are the reason I teach." And I never forgot that, and I just cried.
Well, don't cry
Thank
now.
you. No, I'm not going to cry, but I just thank you for that.
Hi there, I'm Teresa Starkman, the principal of Lincoln Center. I have 6 retirees and then 2 teachers celebrating 25 years. So the first person I want to call up is Kim Sutherland. Super happy that she's here this evening. One thing I said to her when she first walked in is, I haven't seen her since she left, so I would imagine that she's really enjoying retirement. But I'm really glad she's here. Of the 30 years that she was a special ed paraprofessional, and someone who, myself, having just deep ties to the special ed programs here in South St. Paul, foundational paraprofessionals are intricate into making those so successful. And so the 30 years that she's worked here, I had the privilege of working with her for 8 of those years. And she is this quiet, calm, but she has this power behind her to be able to get kids to do what they needed to do when they needed to do it, and to do it in a way that they just loved working with her and loved being in the building. I know that it was really hard for her to decide to retire, and family, right? Family's important. Is why I think why we all love to work here in South St. Paul, and so her family is super important to her, and so she needed to take that time to be with her family and care for her parents, and then also she has children and grandchildren who she also enjoys. So I just really want to say it's been a privilege to be able to have worked with you and to thank you for your service to South St. Paul.
Thank you. Yes.
I've learned many, many things from the kids and the staff that I've worked with over the last 30 years. And I've taken those things into my private life as well. And so I want to say thank you to all the staff that I worked with throughout the years.
I have two other paraprofessionals who are not here this evening. So Linda Bachman. Linda worked for almost 30 years as well as a special education paraprofessional. She was like glitz and glam. Everything that she wore or her phone, everything was bejeweled. And it just really was like an extension of who her personality was too, as she worked in the building and worked with kids. So the festive outfits, happy smile and sparkles brought joy to our school every day. And then John Fisher, he had a calm presence during his tenure here at Lincoln Center. Probably one of the best things is that he's back. Like, he is one of our go-to dependable sub-paraprofessionals. We love to have him back. So he gets to kind of pick and choose when he wants to work, and so he gets to enjoy retirement, and we still get to enjoy him. So we love having John Fisher in the building. So thank you to those two. So now I have Janine Brown and Laura Dozer. Both can come join us. So Janine has been a teacher at Lincoln Center for 27 years and is a fourth grade teacher for the past 20. When you see Janine, she always has a smile on her face. She is genuinely excited for anything new. I mean, she stops by, I'm so excited. Like, and I'm just like, okay, what today? Like, she's just got this great excitement about her, whatever we're going to be doing. And lots of times, not everyone else is that excited as Janine is, so that's really fun. A direct quote from her is, "The joy that keeps me coming to work every day is seeing little faces excited to learn about the world. It has been a privilege to work in this community." As someone who's had the privilege to work with Janine these past few years, I can see the reason her students were always excited to learn was because of her belief in them. She has a calm presence and quietly encourages each of her students. In retirement, she's looking forward to spending more time with her family, grandchildren. She takes grandchildren on really special trips. They've been to Alaska. I know that they love to go camping, and she loves to garden, reading. So all of those things she's going to get to do more of in her retirement. So I just want to say it's been a pleasure working with you. Thank you for everything. And Laura. Laura served South St. Paul as, I want to start over. Laura was born and raised in South St. Paul and also made her career here. Another reason why this place is so amazing. She worked in a wide variety of positions, and many of her former students now have children of their own that she gets to serve. She spent more than 8 years as an intervention teacher, but she also took a little bypass. Laura's another person who will also do what's needed to be done, even if it scares her. And that would be a distance learning teacher as a first grade teacher during COVID, to go back, not just into the classroom, a grade level she was familiar with, but Laura and technology are a little bit like oil and water. But
don't go well together.
But she embraced it, and she did a phenomenal job. And in fact, in her giving me information for this evening, she said she would do it again. And that's what I love, right? We have two people here who are just ready to do anything that it takes. Laura says, "I love the innocence of children and the things they say and do. It makes me laugh and brings me so much joy. I believe it takes a village to raise a child, and I've been honored to be part of those villages." She was the Silver Apple Award winner for Lincoln Center. I want you to know that 4 second grade students nominated her. They're the ones who work with her in a small group every day. And they drew little pictures of how the kidney table and where their little chairs were, and wrote about the things. And one thing they said to me is, "Mrs. Dozer taught me how to read." And that is something to be really proud of, right? So Laura's looking forward to spending retirement with her family, especially her grandson. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
The one thing I have to tell you, though, what I love about teaching is it was all exciting, the silver apple, and I brought it up to my room and I continued to teach. My first group of kids that came in said, "Well, what's that?" And I'm like, "Well, the silver apple." And they're like, "Well, that's silver, so really you came in second." So I thought, okay. But then my next group of kids came in and they did the same thing. So I think in the future, maybe the foundation might want to look at making that gold. Because
Your reaction was golden when you got the silver.
But I'm
apple.
number one in your heart. That's what I said, number one.
Fantastic.
And Mrs.
Remember
Dozier,
clipboard down.
I have to thank you as one of your former first grade students. I developed a love of reading, and that's what I remember from first grade is just an absolute love of reading.
You know what, Anne? I remember your integrity already in first grade. You had that. And when you were running for board, it's like, shoo in. Had my vote. And I was lucky enough to have Andrew. It was my second year of teaching.
Yeah, I remember.
And it was like, what an honor, because I had John as a teacher, and you guys, it was the funniest thing. I had him for psychology in high school, and he actually like got up onto a table and showed us, well, he was showing us what different mental illnesses would look like. So he was showing us what, I don't know what it was. Oh gosh, when you I can't think of the name, but anyway, it was John. It was like he had to show us what some of that stuff was like, and I don't know.
I'll tell him
and
about
Tim
this.
was my little Northview pool rat who would come up on his bike, and I would work concessions, and there he was. It made my days go quick. And Wendy, I've known because her niece and my daughter have been best friends since they met in preschool. And John, you and I don't really know each other well, but we went through show choir.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
That was awesome. So Monica, I'm sorry,
I'm available. You know.
Okay. Maybe in the future there'll be a memory there. I don't know.
Yes.
Thanks, everyone.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Congrats.
So Diane Tiffany is not here with us this evening. She has served the last 8 years as our IB curriculum coordinator. She has a passion for learning, and as showed here at Lincoln Center, she and I had many opportunities to work very closely together. A funny story is her office is directly across from the first grade bathroom with the door that looks right there, right, with the kids who are lining up. And when the students heard that she wasn't, that she was leaving, they expressed concern like, well, who's going to watch us and make sure we still do our job? She loved to chat and joke with students in the hallways, meet with teachers, help them plan their PYP units. And with Diane, she was known for so much, but what she really was about community and getting people to come in and talk. And so she had an office filled with candy. And so all kinds of candy. And so people did come for candy and then stay and chat and then build community with others. So we thank Diane for her years of service. All right, they have two teachers who are celebrating 25 years plus service. So Tina Beeler and Deb Burrell are both here with me this evening. Tina has a total of 31 years teaching. 5 of those were in Las Vegas, the rest of the time here in South St. Paul. She's always taught kindergarten and first grade, and she's taught kindergarten for as long as I've known her. And she's an outstanding kindergarten teacher. Kindergarten's changed a lot, and but she's always there to help her team adjust to the many changes. Her favorite experience has been looping with her classes. So thank you for your years of service. Deb has had a wide range of teaching experiences. What she loves to say is that she's taught every grade from kindergarten through grade 6. I think that's remarkable. Think of all the things you had to know to all that curriculum, right? She began her career as a building sub, but by November she was teaching 6th grade. And she said during her second year there was fear of a Y2K meltdown and people began filling their bathtubs with and saving bottled water. She has 2 daughters and her husband, and they just recently celebrated their 27th wedding anniversary. So congratulations. Her first groups of students are now parents with their own children coming through the district. And Deb says, some of my best friends have also been my SSP coworkers. I'm happy to have had this opportunity to teach in South St. Paul, and I hope I've done a good job. You have done a great job, both of you. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Good evening, Chuck Ochaki, principal of the high school. I guess I started quality in action and I'll end quality action, and there's a lot of quality in between where I am. So we at the high school have 4 retirees. What I learned was retiring, you just get busier. And planning for retirement is really busy in itself. So neither of the four could be here tonight because they were taking care of business, but I'd like to talk about them. Barbara Odette kind of laughed when I asked her what she was going to do in retirement, because the last time she retired, she got a job with us and spent the last couple of years as our fax teacher here. She actually just said, you know, hanging out and actually looking forward to coming back and subbing, which she has done already a couple of times. So we look forward to seeing Barb when she comes through the door. Beth Johnson is a special ed teacher at the high school who's going to be greatly missed. She has a huge love in her heart for all of her kids, and she will actually refer to them as my kids. When I first started working here, I thought she had 100 kids. Beth is actually looking forward to taking some time. She's going to do some trips, some solo trips out to the East Coast to see the leaves change in May or in Maine in October. And then she has a grandchild that she's going to spend a ton of time visiting, and is going to bounce back between Texas and Arizona. So we will miss Beth greatly. Matt Sattler is a math teacher at the high school. He's also coached just about every sport that you can coach, and he and I started our time in South St. Paul together. So it's really amazing to watch Matt walk out the door, because he is leaving just a legacy of what it means to be just a professional all the time. He's actually the reason I wear ties every day, which is, there's a whole story there, and I'll share it with you at a later time. Anyone can ask me. He is actually moving to Las Cruces, New Mexico, where he's planning on relaxing, golfing, hiking, and traveling, and thinking about me in the dark months of winter. And then last but not least is Carol Journey, our EL teacher at the high school, who is retiring from South St. Paul. But when I asked, like, what are you planning on doing, Carol, she just started laughing and said, I have a kid that I need to get through college, so I'll find something else. I'm just looking forward to a change and a new chapter in my life. So the four retirees from the high school, Barbara Odette, Beth Johnson, Matt Sattler, and Carol Journey, will be deeply missed, and they are huge shoes for us to fill. So thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for all of your service to this district. It is a pretty remarkable show of force in our room tonight, and from the board and all of us, I express my sincere gratitude, and look at all of the teachers who also our own children went through, and some of us went through, and just so much appreciation for what you did. So. All right. Well, that's a lot of business. That was all the fun stuff of the board meeting. So we need to move on to our reports section of the meeting tonight. As much of our room starts to excuse themselves as well. I can't imagine why you wouldn't want to stick around.
Perfect evening out there that's awaiting.
We did say. Now I said.
And I have a report to give here in a minute, so I try not to take offense to that.
I said report, and everyone ran. This is really. You can tell I'm hold such a captive audience by comparison to all the teachers. Our first report of the night is public listening, and we did not have any public listening submissions tonight. If you are interested in expressing anything to the board, you can do that through our district website. There is a place for submissions for public listening sessions to the school board. You can also attend the very first meeting of the month at 4:15 right here in this room from our first board meetings. And then I will turn it over to Director Weber for our Committee of the Whole report.
Thank you, Chair Rosh. So we had our Committee of the Whole meeting before this meeting, and we went over a few different things. One, we had an overview of our alternative teacher professional pay system, which is a plan also known as QComp, which is just an alternative pay ability for teachers to earn extra money to improve their professional skills. So we went through that. We also went through all the budgets for the food service and the community education fund. We talked about some of the legislative changes that are going to be coming at the conclusion of our legislative budget cycle. Some of the new programs that we're going to be implementing, some of the additional funding that we'll get for some of them. It's a full time in budgets right now as we have to come up with our district-wide budget by the end of June. And then we also talked about the some of the joint programs that we do with Dakota County, and tonight we have to make it official with our joint powers agreement. So that was all the exciting information from our committee of the whole meeting.
Excellent. Thank you. And now I will turn it over to Dr. Zambrino.
Thank you, Chair Rosh. A busy time of year. It's amazing how fast it's going. And so as we approach the end of the year, it's just hard to believe we're announcing graduation ceremonies here. So we have our CLC graduation just around the corner on Tuesday, June 6th at 6 o'clock. And then our high school just 2 days later on Thursday, June 8th at 7. So the CLC is in the auditorium there at the secondary building and then on the field for the high school. And we know not everybody's able to make it to those events. So we have opportunities with Comcast, Town Square, or Facebook Live. So if you can't get there in person, you can be there in spirit and still tune in. Looking forward to putting on that goofy regalia. I see that picture of me there. I think it costs like $400, so it's good to finally have a use for it, though. So, and it makes the kids look good in that awesome maroon that they come up in. So, excited. Mr. Holson, we all know Mr. Holson's work speaks for itself, but it goes beyond that. And so, Mr. Holson was chosen for the 2023 Theater Educator Award from Spotlight Showcase. So Spotlight Showcase is a Minnesota high school theaters. It's the biggest celebration in that arena. More than 1,600 students participate in the awards, and they're presented by Hennepin Theater Trust Spotlight Education Program. So Showcase will be held live June 12th and 13th at the State Theater in downtown Minneapolis. So excited to see that. I did see the latest production, heavy topic in the most recent one, but again, amazing work, so well deserved. We also have reason to celebrate the Educational Foundation Scholarship Banquet. So that was held on May 10th. And so this, I'm not new anymore, but it still just jumps out as someone who hasn't been around this as long as others. What an amazing thing. We had 140 seniors. So every senior who applied for a scholarship received a scholarship. Those 140 students received over $455,000. So that was held May 10th, and just want to give a congratulations to our students and a big shout out for everybody who made that possible, especially the generous donors. Another program we're really proud of here is our Tri-District CAPS program, and so exciting to see some recognition happening there. So the Dakota County Public Health Department recognized a group of Tri-District Healthcare career students for their effort to increase the number of students with life-saving skills. So they were engaged in a youth participatory action research project, and they thought, how great would it be to have more students be able to respond with life-saving assistance if needed. So all the students in that program got trained in CPR, Heimlich maneuver, administering Narcan, and so a really meaningful project. And then they received Public Health Achievement Honorable Mention Award, including senior pictured here, Lawson. So kudos to our Tri-District CAPS healthcare students. This was, a mixed blessing. So a very sad story about a student who passed a number of years ago from cancer. But the students at Kaposia have turned it into a cause now. And so they have Fight Cancer Like a Ninja Warrior. And so they've been raising money and doing activities remembering their friend Jameer, and the money's going towards cancer research. So on Monday, it would have been his birthday a week ago, and they unveiled new equipment that they had, and actually I took a run at it. First, I dared John Laliberty to run through that thing, and man, we missed it, and he came back, and I was like, oh no, did he really do that? And sure enough, and then just to prove it, he doubled down and went through the course really fast, so he's like, okay, buddy, now you. So in my dress shoes and all, and tie probably flying, I ran through the course, but a really neat event, and they're really trying to take this as an opportunity, this loss of a friend and classmate, to give hope to people fighting cancer and to raise funds. So fun to be a part of that. Also at Kaposia, we had a visit from the Minnesota Wild. So the Wild has what they call Face Off for Fitness program, and they came and had an all-school assembly. So you see Nordy in the picture, and the Wild announcer came, as well as former athletes, and even former White Cap and USA gold and silver medalist came to talk to the kids about importance of physical activity and nutrition. Students all were given Wild cards, and on each one of the cards there's a tip for fitness or a nutrition tip. So lots of fun. They did leave for the students a net and sticks and pads so they can play kind of indoor street hockey there and be well equipped. So thank you to the Minnesota Wild for that. Earlier today, we onboarded some student reps as part of our work to elevate student voice, and this year we tried something new. So we started a superintendent student advisory group, and we've had a couple meetings, and the last one, Dory, who was here honoring her nutrition staff, came and they brought in new menu items for the kids to try. And what I love about kids is they will just tell you their truth fully. And this picture shows how Junior was 2 thumbs up on one item and Joseph said, yeah, not so much, 2 thumbs down. But they tried 5 different items. Lisa was with me and we got to rate them from 1 to 5. And I thought they were all a 5. And should they go on the menu? And we said yes. I'm trying to remember all the things we tried. We tried a jambalaya that was really delicious, a little spicy. They had tortellini salad. We tried fruit with tahini on there. It's a seasoning that if people haven't seen that, that's real popular. We had like a bread stick that cinnamon stick, and I'm missing one, I think. Think about it. Maybe I got them all. It was all great, really good stuff. And so the kids it was nice for them to try that and feel empowered to have that, but they also were able to talk really directly. Dory's really great in communicating with kids, and it's like, what's been your experience? And so they shared some issues around milk and some of these other things that haven't been as pleasant for them, but it was nice for us to be able to share that we're taking that all very seriously and really appreciate their voice. So it was fun. We worked with 4th graders, 7th graders, and 11th graders this year, and we kind of thought we'd do the same next year until I'm sitting in this room full of all these kids said, are we getting to do this again next year? So yes, we're going to do that with them, and we'll have to think about how we onboard new students as we go. At Lincoln, we had a visit from the Science Museum, and so they brought what they have as a traveling engineer and dinosaur exhibit. So 3rd through 5th graders learned about problem solving through engineering, and they learned a design process called Learn, Design, Create, and Test. So they got to learn that. And then the kindergarten through 2nd grade learned about dinosaurs. So they learned how fossils and bones are found and what they can tell us about the creatures they belong to. So really great experiential learning going on there. And last and certainly not least was our Senior Center Spring Fashion Show, which we may have a model sitting in our midst here, but really fun event that's done semi-annually. And so the packed house of our seniors, and then apparel from Taylor Marie's Fashions brought in, so the seniors model the clothes and then they can just go right out and make purchases, and they get a little bit of a discount off of what it would be if they were to purchase those off the rack and then had a lunch. And so I always just have a blast with our seniors, and so another really fun event there at Central Square. And kudos to Jean Zender and Linda Jacobs-Buse and Amy Treadle and the team over there. I mean, they just do so much amazing work with our seniors, and they just crack me up every time I come in. I'm figuring out who the really spicy, funny ones are, and oh man, they put a smile on my face before I even get through the threshold. So love spending time with our seniors. As always, you can follow us on social media, whatever format you like to choose, and we do our best to keep that up to date. But if you have questions or feedback, we always welcome that. And then important dates coming up. We've got Memorial Day, no school on Monday, just right next week. And I mentioned the graduations coming up with CLC on the 6th and high school on the 8th. And then June 8th, our last day, believe it or not, right around the corner.
It's always a busy time of year. Thank you.
Tons of fun stuff. And meeting materials online anytime you need to find anything that's going on with the board.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next up, we have The consent portion of our agenda, items that are typically financial claims, staffing, personnel in nature, have been a part of the board packet and not a part of public discussion, but available for you to review at any time. They have already been presented to the board and not up for further. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? And then the motion carries. And holy cow, next up, we have an enormous number of policies that have recently been reviewed by our policy committee. Policies under review are under review for 3 meetings. Lisa, do I need to list every one of these off? Oh, good, because I think we have 2 full pages of these. But there has been a large number of policies that are under our regular review. If I can just sort of point out a couple of highlights, is some of it was in response to some legislative changes. Some of it has been some language changes that are recommendations from Minnesota School Board Association. Some of them are in response to some legalization of different substances that the schools need to be prepared for when that occurs, and then some movement around some of our graduation standards. So there was a bunch that were under review. They're available here for this very first reading and will be available for the next 2, and then the board will vote on those. Any further discussion or questions?
I think one thing we could clarify, we did look at, I know it came up with a question on how we assign credits versus the state, and because, and Principal Chaki's back there, so you can help me out if I'm not stating it right, but like the state might say we require 1 credit of, I'll make it up, health or PE, and we say 3, and that's because we're on a trimester schedule. So just if people look at that and wonder why our numbers don't add up, or like the, and then in some cases we go beyond what's required. So sometimes there's standards that are required and there's no actual credit count. But like, for example, health and PE are very standard graduation requirements, and I think every district at this point. And so that's something we choose how many credits, but we do have to cover the standards either way. So it would make sense that our kids would get credit while they're learning standards. So, yeah.
Excellent. If you have any interest in where those policies are, you can certainly visit our website and go to the school board packet and review those for yourself as well. And that will move us to our business items. And I am looking for the approval for the school board to approve the acceptance of gifts. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
In discussion, Brady, you want to introduce what those gifts are?
Sure, we have 1 donation tonight. It is from the Betty Gee Memorial. It is a $100 donation to the Lincoln Center 2nd grade team.
Excellent.
Used towards school supplies.
Excellent. Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Chair
And
Rosh, I'm sorry, we need a roll call.
oh, that is a roll call vote. Thank you, Lisa, for taking care of that. Lisa, will you please call the roll?
Director W. Felton.
Yes.
Claflin.
Aye. Yes.
Laliberty.
Yes.
T. Felton.
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
And Rosh.
Yes.
That's 6 yeas.
Thank you so much for catching that. All right. Next, I am looking for a motion for the approval of the South St. Paul School Board to approve joint powers agreement between the County of Dakota and the Special District 6 for the implementation of the county's statewide health improvement program, also known as SHIP. Do I have a motion?
So moved?
Second.
And discussion, Brady Hoffman.
All right, so this evening we have a couple joint powers agreements with the county. For nearly 10 years now, we've had a partnership with the county related to these SHIP grants. So the county recently changed their processes where they now require a formally approved joint powers agreement. So the work has been done over the years with these grants, so this is just kind of more of a formality. So the first of those is related to 3 mini grants. So Kaposia, Lincoln Center, and the middle school are each getting a grant. The 2 elementary schools are related to outdoor classroom space, and then the middle schools is related to the Yonder pouches for their cell phones. And then the second JPA is related to equipment ownership with bikes, so part of that Safe Routes to School program. So once again, programs that have been in place that we've partnered with the county on for the last 10 years that now just require more of a formal joint powers action to solidify these programs.
Excellent. All in favor say aye on this one.
Aye.
Aye. And opposed? Motion carries. And one more business item. We are looking for a motion for the approval of the South St. Paul School Board to approve the joint powers agreement for school wellness between Dakota County and Special District 6. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
And discussion again, Brady Hoffman.
Yep, and that's where I just touched on the two grants. So the one was the mini grants, the other one's the equipment. So this second one here is related to the bikes and the taking ownership of that equipment. So
Excellent. Thank you. You had that all packaged together, and I had that separate. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. And then that brings us to some board member reports. Our committee of the whole meeting ran a little long. We had an enormous amount of information to go. So if board members could provide brief report from committee work or events that they have participated in or seen a passion. If I could start with Wendy Felton.
Okay, first I'll start here. As I am a representative on the Education Foundation, I did attend the scholarship banquet, so that was always a wonderful, exciting event for our students. And also I serve on the board of directors at the senior center, so I did attend the fashion show and I did model in the fashion show. And of course I buy clothes there also every year, so that's always something good. And as I also serve on the school board at Intermediate District 917, as it is the end of the school year in both of our districts, there are a lot of things that I will be attending, so I'm just going to kind of read them off real quick. Starting next week with 917, on Friday, June 2nd, I will be attending 2 graduation events, which are being held at the Concord Education Center, which will feature the Concord School graduates and also the Alliance Education Center graduates. Like I said, that'll be next Friday. And then, of course, here in South St. Paul, the following Tuesday is our CLC graduation. And that Wednesday evening, June 7th, a Dakota County Alternative Learning School, with 917, which is held at Dakota County Tech College, and the other one, Decals North, here in West St. Paul. Their graduation ceremony will be held at Inver Hills Community College on that Wednesday evening. And then also on Thursday, June 8th, which is our high school graduation event here for our seniors. Also, Intermediate 917, our deaf and hard of hearing preschool students, which attend at Lincoln Center, they will be having a preschool graduation ceremony. So I am planning on attending that also at Lincoln Center on that Thursday. And then, of course, on Friday, on the 9th, that's our employee recognition breakfast at the high school. Looking forward to attending that also. And also, some information for my fellow board members. Coming up on next winter, January 10th through the 12th, in 2024, January here, Minnesota School Board Association has already announced those will be the dates for their annual conference to be held in Minneapolis at the Convention Center. So it is something to kind of mark on your calendar now, January 10th through the 12th. So a lot of busy events. And then I want to say a huge thank you and a grateful thanks to all of the staff that were here earlier for their 25-year anniversaries, and a true thanks to all those retirees who have been with our district for many years. Several of the teachers and staff members that were here were teachers for my students, my children too, that graduated here from the district. So thank you so much for what you've done, and enjoy your life. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Director Tim Felton.
The Open has not met since our last meeting. I believe we're meeting this Wednesday, actually, and I have nothing else at this point.
Excellent. Director Monica Weber.
So I'm on the Association of Metropolitan School Districts. Most of the information lately has been related to the end of the legislative session and the completion of many of the budgets from the legislature through Governor Walz. Talked about a lot of the legislative changes of funding, formula increases, increases for special education funding, some increases for our English language learners program. And then there's also changes and some new mandates, some new things that districts will be required to cover and pay for. And we're still kind of digging into the weeds through all of that variety of different things from the flurry of the legislature. I would also just like to personally express gratitude for Mr. Eric Colson, who, as we said earlier, received the Theater Education Award. I have personally worked in theater projects with Mr. Holson, and he is just a phenomenal asset to our community. And if anyone out there really wants to get the feeling of participating in a South St. Paul Community Theater event, Fiddler on the Roof is going to be the summer musical. Auditions are open to anyone in grades 9 through adults. And auditions will be on June 7th and June 9th. So come and participate in this other great community event.
Excellent. Thank you. Director Nikki Lalaberty.
The Community Engagement Committee has not met. And also just one quick shout out to the Phi-Ed teacher at Kaposia, Brenda Johnson, for the work that she has done with the kids, with the community regarding this ninja course. Just her dedication and what she really brings is she brings heart. And that's very evident in how she deals with the kids. And it's just a amazing thing that's happening. If you ever get a chance to go down to Kaposia and see this, it's fantastic. So thank you, Brenda.
Cool. Excellent. And Director Ann Claflin.
Yes, I have to echo what Director Lalaberty said about Ms. Johnson at Kaposia. I was there for the Ninja Warrior night last week, and the fifth graders had such initiative in coming up with this idea to honor their friend, and Ms. Johnson saw that spark, empowered them to do this, encouraged them all along the way, and watching the kids jump into action at her whistle. These kids know the drill, and they know exactly how you do those ninja moves just the right way. It was a lot of fun to watch them challenge themselves and practice some of these really tough moves, lots of ropes and jumping from one thing to another. This last week, we also had the opportunity to hear from some senior high students who are interested in becoming student reps on the board, and all of those students were just remarkable. The reasons that they want to have more of a student voice heard at the board are really meaningful. We need to know what's going on in our students' lives. Hearing that as board members is really important for us, because it's certainly been a long time since we've been students at a high school level or students at all. Having the perspective of teachers or community leaders, parents, is different than being the student yourself. I'm really glad that we're able to elevate those voices. I'm looking forward to welcoming Luis and Renata and the rest of the students that are going to help support them in bringing student voices to the board. And finally, our local issues meeting will be held on Wednesday. So we'll be able to meet with folks from the city, other community leaders, and with the Chamber of Commerce as well, and hear a little bit more about how we all work together.
Excellent.
Great.
Thank you. There's so much to celebrate as we approach the end of the year, and we celebrate all that we have accomplished, both the students and the staff, and the district as a whole. And we have a very bright future under the direction that we are heading right now. With no further item.
Chair Rosh, if I may, just, I didn't want to do this until we were basically done, but we do have all spring birthdays in my house with my 3 children and my wife, and today is my daughter Seraphina's 15th birthday, and I told her I would say happy birthday on camera. But I love you and proud of you, as well as Isabella and Leonardo, who hopefully will hear that as well. So thanks for humoring me.
Wonderful. So happy birthday there as well. Excellent. With no further items on our agenda, I'm looking to adjourn tonight's school board meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Any discussion? No? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Motion carries. This meeting is adjourned at 7:10.